let's go on BuzzFeed. That's probably a sentence you haven't heard in a while. Caroline, BuzzFeed? Yeah, BuzzFeed from the year 2014. Let's go on the website/application BuzzFeed. Are you sure it still exists? You may be asking at home. Yeah, I am sure. Do you want to know why I'm sure? Because I start my days with BuzzFeed. I'm a BuzzFeed user. I have a BuzzFeed account. I occasionally leave a comment on the BuzzFeed app, the BuzzFeed website itself. Not like a Facebook comment on a BuzzFeed article. On BuzzFeed, I'm commenting. Why though? Why do I use BuzzFeed? In the year 2023, why do I, Caroline Esom, use BuzzFeed? I find that waking up with BuzzFeed is kind of the equivalent of waking up with cornflakes. That's the dream that the cornflakes guy had. I don't want to get too into the cornflake story because I only know vague details, but essentially the guy who invented cornflakes did it because he thought that people were feeling themselves too much. He thought that people were having too much fun, and he thought if we integrate cornflakes into the world, people will be having less fun. For me, BuzzFeed is my cornflakes. I can't start the morning with one of the big apps. I can't start the morning scrolling through TikTok. I'll be there all day. I can't start the morning on YouTube. I'll go down a rabbit hole. So I start the day with BuzzFeed, where everything is just boring enough that you're not going to be there forever. You couldn't be there forever if you wanted to be there forever because the content runs out. There's an end to it, right? If you're on that front page of BuzzFeed, there's an end to it. But what is BuzzFeed? Some of you who are younger may have never heard of such a thing. BuzzFeed is a website/application now that hosts articles. They have a staff of people that write these articles, but they specialize in listicles. What's a listicle? Some people might be asking. A listicle is an article, except most of the time it's mainly pictures and it's in a list format. For example, 24 people that had a way, way, way worse day than you had. And then it would be pictures of people experiencing a minor inconvenience. Let's look at an example of one of those articles now. Okay, so I typed in the word worse. Of course, BuzzFeed has a lot of content about people who have it worse than you. So a few of the first articles, 52 people with roommates whose roommates are so much worse than any bad roommate you've ever had. They do not know your life. They do not know my life. They do not know the roommate experiences that we've had. Okay, 19 people who straight up just had a way worse week than you. Let's go through this list. The person who took the biggest, fakest bite you'll ever see. I thought it was a real apple. Like, people experienced the loss of a parent that week. It is so bold of BuzzFeed to assume that it knows for a fact that your week has not been worse than eating a bite of a styrofoam apple. Next, there's got to be war and famine, right? Because it really thinks no one's ever had a worse week. The article was written by Dave Stapera. We can't blame Dave Stapera because rumor is at BuzzFeed they have to come up with 1 million articles every 4 days, so he did what he had to do. The person whose partner is absolutely toxic. My partner farted and the air quality went way down. Air quality went down to 94%. Okay, I think that makes for a silly week. I don't think that makes for a bad week. Your partner farts and it literally sets off the air purifier. What a hilarious anecdote. And a viral moment on the internet. That's a net positive. The person whose pizza had a little more bounce to the ounce. There's a spring in my pizza. This is as bad as it gets, folks. You thought grief was hard. You thought illness was hard. Idiot. The worst thing that can happen to you is getting a spring in your pizza. That's way, 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 way worse than anything you've ever gone through. Okay. The person who needs to get their dang ears checked. I saw a coworker mincing over. I asked what was wrong. I heard email problems. I then asked, maybe I could help. She asked, how can you help with cramps? She had said, female problems. There's a person in this story who's having a worse person than the person BuzzFeed is talking about having a worse. Let's start that over. There's a person in this story who's having a worse week than the person BuzzFeed is talking about who's having a hard week. BuzzFeed says you can't have it worse than a guy mistakenly offering to help with email problems. Yeah, you can. You can have the cramps. You can be the one sulking in the office with cramps. In the story, there's someone who has it worse. Number 5, the person who, for but a brief moment, was the king of the world. I thought I got the tip of a lifetime. It's not the tip of a lifetime. BuzzFeed thinks that the worst thing that can happen to you is if you think something really, really good is going to happen to you, but then that thing doesn't happen. The absence of a really, really positive thing is not the worst thing in the world. BuzzFeed believes that it doesn't get worse than having your hopes let down. That's what we'll learn as we go on our journey today. The person whose burrito might just be the saddest burrito my eyes have ever seen. I paid good US currency for a burrito and got this. Yeah, okay, so this is a bad day to this guy. This is my dream burrito. Why? I'm a picky eater. I don't like all the things that people put on burritos these days. In my opinion, the best burrito is just a cheesy roll-up. It's just some melted cheese on a tortilla. Is that a burrito? No, because of the standards of our society that says burritos have to be thick. It is seriously Kim Kardashian syndrome. The whole world is stuck on that everything's gotta be BBL mindset that Kim Kardashian is responsible for. Moving on. The person who's going to play a rousing game of this little piggy went to the market with a new friend. Okay, yes, is it good? It's not good to have a toe next to you on a flight, but you're on a flight. Some people have never been anywhere else besides their small little hometown before. You're on a flight. That's a win right there. I suppose the point of BuzzFeed's title, 28 or however many we're dealing with today, people who are having a way, 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 way worse than you, is meant to be hyperbolic. But the way BuzzFeed uses hyperbole so insistently and so across the board makes it so that hyperbole loses its context. I don't know, I'm just talking at this point. Oh yeah, the whole foot there. There you go. The person who got a beautiful view of some rando's umbrella at the function. Okay, so the person in front of them wouldn't put an umbrella down. But you've got tickets to the concert. At least you're there in the atmosphere. At least you're soaking up the sun or whatever the vibes of the concert are. There are worse things. You know how I feel. Let's see. The person whose pizza place is running a very interesting new promotion. There was a cigarette in my pizza box? Wow. So some people really do complain about everything, right? This guy's complaining about a free cigarette. Sorry. What I wouldn't give for a free cigarette. That's a joke. That's a joke. I'm so serious about that being a joke too, because nicotine kills. Cigarettes kill. Vaping, not cool. You hear me? Vaping, lame. Juul pods, lame. Do you hear me, teens? Don't get into it. All right. The person whose crunchy peanut butter just became creamy. Okay, so this person ran over some peanut butter. Oh, wow. Please, God. I thought that you were a benevolent God. How'd you let it get so bad in this person's life? Why do bad things happen to good people? This guy had to run over his own peanut butter. What kind of world is that? All right. The person whose credit card fell into a place beyond what our simple human brains can comprehend. Okay, the next genre I'm going to show you. This is a good transition into the next genre. Let's go into the next genre of BuzzFeed content. Hold on. Next genre we're going to cover is the weirdly unnecessary, self-deprecating BuzzFeed facts article. Here's the title. Let's go to it. I have a brain the size of a peanut, so my mind was totally blown after seeing these 21 absolutely fascinating pictures for the very first time last week. I have a brain the size of a peanut. Dave Stapera, again, the author of this article. Dave, you've got a perfectly normal size brain. You don't have to do all this for the title of this article. This article could simply be interesting pictures I saw last week. It does not need to be, or interesting pictures I took from reddit.com last week. It absolutely does not need to include such weird self-deprecation. Let's see what these interesting pictures are. This is a real picture of the moon crossing in front of the Earth. Your brain can't comprehend that? Your brain was absolutely blown? We know we live on an Earth. We know there's a moon too. It was absolutely blown by this. Your pea brain could not comprehend. Okay. Let's see. This is what the rabies vaccine looks like. It's purple. That's pink. That's the color pink. So I guess your brain is a little pea-sized. But also, I can't, my mind's so blown. The rabies vaccine is not clear. The rabies vaccine is a color. What? That's crazy. This is Rumesia Gelgi, the tallest woman in the world. There she is. Can you imagine if you did that in person with her? You see her in person, and you're like, wow, my tiny pea brain can't comprehend it. That would be rude. She stands over 7 feet tall and has to travel like this when flying on an airplane. All right, that is interesting. I'll give you that. All right, more about her. This is what one of her hands looks like compared to a much smaller person's hand. Okay. This is what the Eiffel Tower looked like while it was under construction. Whoa. Maybe this is the cause, you know, this is spontaneous human combustion right now. These pictures need to be locked up so that nobody's head explodes. Okay, let's go through this article entitled 20 People Whose Roommates Are Way Worse Than Anyone You've Ever Lived With. Let's count the ways. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12. 12 ways. So many assumptions already happening just from the title of this video. The assumption that you've never lived with anybody worse than the people on this list. Keep in mind, I doubt that there are murderers on this list. Right? I doubt that Ted Bundy's on this list. What if you were previously roommates with Ted Bundy and then you read this list? Your experience is invalid, I suppose. Let's see. This roommate who put away obviously dirty dishes. Roommate 1 says, "Did you put away the dishes from the dishwasher?" And roommate 2 says, "Yes. They're all dirty." And it said dirty. Oh. I'm going to be honest with you. I don't know how to appropriately use OPE. O-P-E. OPE. I guess it's like an oops. But also in an innocent way. Like, look how innocent. Oop, oop, oop. I didn't mean to. Oop. I was doing other things. It was full, so I figured it had been run. The dishwasher says dirty. Why get the signs? Why get the signs if we're not going to use the signs? And this is an obviously dirty bowl. For this one, yes, this roommate is bad. Way worse than anyone you've ever lived with? I don't know, because I know that I don't know your living situation. This roommate who bit the house butter and dropped it in the pan every time they cooked. I've seen this post before on Reddit, I believe, and this was a personal butter stash for this one individual. This isn't house butter. This person's being misrepresented. Yes, they're gross. They bite butter before dropping it into the pan. But they're not malevolent. They're a chaotic neutral. They do this to themselves, not to the people around them. This person who felt that their roommate should start paying more rent because they made more money. Let's see. So I rent an apartment with a roommate. She makes 2 times more money than I do, so I thought it would be fair if she paid more rent than me, since she'll have more money left over. What's y'all's opinion? There are 17 responses on Facebook to this, and they are all either this face, which is just like laughing so hard it can't even keep its eyes open, or this face, which is like, oh, the audacity. Is this a serious question? I feel like we should pay the same percentage of our checks. In Soviet Russia, you pay what is fair. What is fair, pay you. Yeah, okay. This roommate who threw out someone else's food to make room for their own in the fridge. I just feel like we're not getting the whole story here. Berries and an avocado. Those things can easily turn bad, and maybe the roommate just was tired of looking at this same avocado, these same berries in the fridge for weeks. and they hadn't been touched. Like, maybe that's the case. This person who was looking for a quiet roommate but planned on practicing with their band at the apartment. Okay, I'm going to face this to me because you don't need to see this. But BuzzFeed did cut off a bit of it. Attention. It has recently come to my attention that I will be kicked out of my aunt's house this week because I do not have money to pay rent due to being fired because I refused to be overworked as they were expecting over 35 hours a week. Okay, let's pause here. The standard American work week is 40 hours a week. I don't work 40 hours a week, so I'm really not one to be like, you guys think 35 hours a week is too many hours? Well, back in my day, we worked barefoot in the snow, digging up holes, digging. No. However, I think that a lot of people who read this would be like, 35 hours a week, that's not really being overworked. My aunt was gouging my rent to $300 per month unfairly, and needless to say, I'm not paying that much for a house I don't own and only have access to the basement. $300 a month in this economy, and given I don't know where this house is that the aunt is letting them stay in, but a full basement, if there's a kitchen, if there's a kitchenette situation, or, you know, just a kitchen, sometimes I like to add on "et" to things that I don't really mean the "et" for, because a kitchenette is a different thing than a kitchen. If there's a full kitchen in the basement, $300 I think is more than fair. With that being said, as an aspiring rock star with my band Air Duster, did they name their band after that little can of air that you can get to spray your keyboard down with? Because if so, okay. If so, okay. I am giving someone the opportunity to be my roommate with a few stipulations. I am giving somebody the opportunity to be my roommate. Wow. That lucky individual. You must be smoke-free. Okay, perfectly reasonable. Tobacco does great harm to the interiors of places. No partying. We all have a different definition of what partying is. To me, partying is inviting a bunch of people over and doing drugs. And that, I think, is a reasonable line to draw in the sand. But this person's idea of partying might be having 2 Coronas on a Saturday evening with 2 of your closest friends, and in which case that's not a reasonable line. Partying is an objective term. One man's party is another man's Wednesday night. Yeah. No loud music. No loud music, says the guy with a band called Air Duster. All right, a fun story. Air Duster reminded me. I used to lie a lot growing up. Yeah, up until I was in middle school, and I made like a conscious effort to stop lying. But I would lie all the time. I would just make things up to make life more interesting. And one of the things that I made up was that I told a bunch of friends that I had a air guitar shaped like a daisy. An air guitar is not a real guitar. We know this, right? I thought it was a real type of guitar. So I boldly told a group of friends that I owned a physical air guitar in the shape of a daisy. Regardless, no friends over late. Again, an objective term. What is late? To me, late, anytime after 9 p.m. To others, late is after 2 a.m. I don't know. No significant others over all the time, living for free. Okay, anytime I see that, it's like, okay, you're salty that you're single. You're salty that you're single. I do get it in terms of some living situations, particularly a college dorm room situation. If you have a roommate and you both live in a college dorm, no, you should not have your significant other sleeping over, not one night of the week. Seriously. And maybe some of you are feeling a bit defensive right now because you're in college and you have your significant other sleep in your twin bed next to your roommate sometimes. Don't do that to them. Don't do that to them. That's awkward. Live off campus. I don't know what to tell you. I am willing to tolerate pets if they are well groomed, but no pit bulls. Pit bulls don't want you either. Mr. 305, Mr. Worldwide. Don't want to go there with you, so don't waste your time. He means he doesn't want to have the type of woman who will argue to the end of the earth that their 300-pound pit bull is harmless. And the 300-pound pit bull probably is harmless, but that's not a conversation this man wants to have with you. My band will practice here. It will be loud. Okay, hold on a second. He said no loud music, yet his band will practice here and it will be loud? Okay. When we are world famous, you will receive a credit in the liner notes of the CD. Bro's about to go back to the year 2008 and release a CD. That's a big gamble. That's a big gamble. Oh yeah, I'm living in this really messed up situation, but if the band Air Duster becomes world famous, I'm gonna have a credit, one-line credit in the CD-ROM. Okay. I will pay up to $150 a month and split utilities. Let me know if you fit this description. I'm looking for a placid. Is placid a word? Placid. I'm looking for a docile roommate. Anybody got a docile roommate? This guy says. This roommate crashed their roommate's car and is refusing to pay for it. What about insurance? Do we not have insurance in this scenario? We're all paying an arm and a leg and a foot and an elbow for our insurance, and then what does the insurance do? Still, the roommate has to pay. This person who took their roommate's car to drive across the country without their permission. Okay, so this is an Am I the Asshole post. Buckle up. Am I the asshole for borrowing my roommate's car to drive cross country without telling him exactly where I went? Yeah, it sounds like it. Let's see. Keeping it short. I live with 3 people, 1 guy, 2 girls. I'm a girl too. That was quite the way to phrase that. The guy and I are good friends, and we help each other with small favors from time to time. We're all in university. All right, so these are British people, right? Because usually when they refer to it as we're all in university, maybe not British, but that's a European way to refer to it, right? Because Americans would say we're all in college or we're all at the same university. I've never heard an American phrase it. We're all in university. Over spring break, I told him I didn't know where to go yet because I didn't have a car. He said he's going home to see family, so I could use his car to drive to spring break stuff with friends. I don't know. Spring break feels very American, though. We'll see. I thought that was super nice, as his car is very nice as well. Mercedes SUV. So he goes home, and I get my best friends together for a spring break road trip. We end up driving to Las Vegas from Maryland. Okay. So this is an American who says we're all in university, which was a huge drive, but super fun. When I get back, my roommate asks how the trip was, and I tell him, and he freaks out. He had assumed we were just going to drive to the beach or something, like just a few hours away, not almost to the West Coast. I told him he didn't say anything about distance when he lent me the car, and it's unfair to get mad at me when he didn't bother to say anything. We've been fighting since, but my other roommate thinks I should apologize. I don't think I did anything wrong, however, but open to other judgment. When you get to the point where you're coming to Am I the Asshole, to ask for the opinion of the internet. I think in your heart you know you did wrong. Yeah, you shouldn't drive a car across the country and be like, well, you didn't tell me specifically not to drive your car across the country. This roommate who refused to clean their rice cooker. That looks like the paste. Teletubbies made something with a pinkish paste. That looks like that paste. This roommate who spent their paycheck too quickly and asked the roommate to get them stuff. Okay. You have to go get it and get lemon lime salt this time. Smiley face. And then roommate says, ugh, please, thank yous. Salt and snacks too. And then other roommate says, I'm trying to save money. Okay, will you at least get the salt? I'll pay you back for that. Wait, I really want lemon juice. Would you get that too? And I promise I'll pay you back tomorrow, please. Yes, this is annoying roommate behavior. Additionally, ignore it. Don't people please your way into a situation where you're more resentful than you need to be. If someone's asking you for a favor that you don't want to do not begrudgingly do that favor. Just don't do it. Just don't do it. Ignore the texts. Set your boundaries. Let it be known. No, this isn't something I do in our relationship. I don't pick you up food that you've specifically requested and I pay for. That's not something that happens in this roommate dynamic. Because with this type of person, you let them take an inch and they will keep trying to take more and more inches until they've collectively collected a mile. You have to be firm. No, I'm not going to do that thing that I don't want to do. This roommate who threw out all the dishes to avoid doing them. Yeah, this is negative. We've all been there. We've all had a moment where we've looked at our dishes and we've said, how did it get this bad? And we've been like, I just want to erase it all. But you can't, because dishes cost money, and money costs hours of labor and work. This roommate who wouldn't use their own towel to wipe makeup off. Yes, they should have used their own towel to wipe their own makeup off. And people are very precious about towels in a way that I don't understand. Is there a towel if I stay at your house, right? Theoretically, I'm staying at your house. I'm a guest and I have a bunch of makeup on and I need to wipe it off. Is there a towel I'm allowed to use, or am I expected to bring a towel from home for that? Because I feel like the etiquette with wiping off your makeup and towels it's blurry to me. Are all of these towels sacred? This roommate who kept missing utility payments. Okay. Hey, utilities from last month were $70 and still have to be paid to the apartment people. Do you need me to do another rent breakdown? Oof, that hurts already. Do you need me to do another rent breakdown? Okay. I know that you said that you weren't going to pay utilities in your email and IDK what that means. There's something going on with this situation where we do not have the full details. I'm not going to pay the $100 for the one you just sent me until we figure it out, but I didn't know I still owed the $70, sorry. And then she says, no worries. The switch up is insane. To go from, do you need me to do another rent breakdown, to no worries, exclamation point. Here's what I've learned in my interactions with people. Nothing means worry more than no worries, exclamation point. That specifically means worry. Worry a lot. Hey, and then she texts again on a different day. Hey, just a friendly reminder, you still owe utilities and I don't want to get a past due from the landlords when we are trying to lower the bill for this month. Yeah, I'm sorry, I'm waiting to get paid. I don't have enough. Okay. I'd greatly appreciate if you were mindful of paying utilities on the date they are due, which is the same every month, the 1st. and planning accordingly. I send you the bill every time I get it, and this is the second time this has happened in the last 3 months, and I don't like having to text you about paying bills. Okay, yeah, my bad that me or my family isn't rich. And I had to help my mom with the water bill because her landlord shut it off. You're right. I'll just let her go without water next time. I hate that, right? The passive aggressiveness of, you're right. You're right. They should suffer. You're right. My mother should suffer. You're absolutely right. Like, the mother was not mentioned. The water bill for the mommy was not mentioned. Just to jump to, you're right. I'll have my mom's water shut off next time. And then she says, she very poorly blocks out the name Taylor, which that's the name Taylor. And she says, Taylor, I pay all of my own bills, work my ass off. All I'm asking is you plan and pay your bills so my credit score isn't affected. Not that much to ask. You do understand it's frustrating to watch you buy multiple bottles of alcohol over the weekend and leave the price stickers on, eat out multiple times a week, and buy unnecessary plants when utilities are due. The unnecessary plants part. Girl's gotta eat. Girl doesn't always want to make food. Girl gets takeout. Okay, I understand that. Girl has a drinking problem. Girl doesn't want to reckon with that. Girl buys alcohol. Okay, I get that too. But the unnecessary plants? Don't buy a plant when you can't pay the utility bill. I manage my money budget and eat out once a week so that I pay my bills in full and on time. I suggest you do the same and stop making excuses. Yeah, that's rough. If I ever got a text like that from my roommate, I would feel pretty defensive. And it seems that this roommate does feel defensive. They say, LOL, I shouldn't even dignify that shit with an answer. I found out Monday night that she needed help, but of course you wouldn't understand with your rich ass family and all your vacations and family homes everywhere. These people should not be roommates. They are fundamentally incompatible. All right, last one. And this person who is mad that their roommate didn't get name brand trash bags. It's a post. Let's read it. All right, I'm kind of upset, but need help with perspective on this. We ran out of trash bags at our apartment, so we've asked our roommate to pick up some since we've provided all of the trash bags for the last 4 months, which have all been name brand. He came back with great value brand. It made me really angry. Context, he makes a lot of money and is single. We are a family of 4 that makes a moderate amount of money. Stop right there. Thank you very much. He's a single individual and they're a family of 4 and he's living with them. I'm sure that the amount of trash that he produces compared to the amount of trash that they produce is negligible. When you've got kids, you know, they touch a surface, that surface becomes trash. You're constantly creating trash. Moving on. We have provided all the household's laundry detergent, hand soap, Bath and Body Works. The Bath and Body Works is in parentheses like Bath and Body Works. Right? This wasn't Dial. This was Bath and Body Works. Paper towels and most of the toilet paper up until this point. All name brand. He knows that I hate Walmart brand. Should I, and then she's allowing the readers of this to vote with this system. Should I heart let it go and buy the Glad trash bags I was going to buy and deal with whatever he says when he finds the extra trash bags? Or crying laughing face, deal with great value brand, but change the trash more frequently because the drawstrings always tend to rip when I overfill it. A trash bag is a trash bag is a trash bag is a trash bag. I don't care if you've said to me in the past that you hate like generic brand whatever. That doesn't register for me. That's just chatter. I tend to be on the side of the individual here because I don't think that a single roommate should have to contribute nearly the same to this household living situation where there's a family of 4 versus 1 roommate. I feel like that's really tricky. I feel like that's really tricky to navigate. Here's my biggest advice when it comes to finding a roommate. You have to have somebody that has the same idea of what dirty and clean mean. Me and my husband have a very similar idea of what dirty and clean means. Clean is no rotting food around. Dirty is rotting food around. I clearly would not be a great roommate for someone who thinks that, like, the baseboards need to be dusted twice a week. You have to find a roommate who has the same idea of what clean means and who has the same idea of what a household purchase is and who should be contributing to these household purchases. Because you can't get mad at people just because they don't think the same way that you do. Because for a lot of people, if they came home to a sink full of dirty dishes, that's just a Thursday, right? That's not fazing them. That's not riling them up. And if you're someone who tends to leave sinks full of dirty dishes, you need to try to find a roommate that doesn't get so flustered by that situation. Okay, well, that was BuzzFeed for today. I hope you enjoyed it, and I'll see you soon. Like and subscribe, seriously. Like and subscribe.